Welcome to the first strength workout in the FORCE program. Before you get started, make sure that your TRX suspension trainer is set up properly, and you should have already done the mobility workout. You're going to notice this first workout focuses a lot on the upper body, although you're going to get a full body workout. And the thing you're going to constantly hear me coming back and focusing on is giving you that nice strong core. This first workout, we want to make sure you understand how to develop this strength in your core. We're going to give you all the principles, all the foundational movements in this first week that you'll be able to use for the rest of this program. So with that said, let's get started into the workout. Our first exercise is going to be the TRX squat row. You want to adjust the suspension trainer so it's at mid-length, and you want to stand facing your anchor point. Once again, this movement mastery mindset means before you start that movement, you want to make sure everything is ready before you even get started. The three levels are going to be squat, squat row, and squat with a Y fly. So for the squat Y fly, we're going to start with this end range, arms up overhead. They're going to be 45-second sets. 45 seconds begins now. You want to start with those elbows tucked right underneath the shoulders, and you're thinking about keeping that torso nice and tall. Get that plank started right from the start. You're keeping that spine nice and strong. For the squat, you're driving through those heels up. For the squat row, you're starting that row right at the bottom. You want to feel that that core is turned on and you're extending through the hips and pulling through the back all the way through. We're about halfway through. The squat with the Y fly is going to be a great way to light up that entire posterior chain. Think of this squat movement as almost a standing hip press. You want to drive this from your posterior chain, hamstrings and glutes, core staying nice and stiff. Find your appropriate level of progression. It's going to be a great lower body, upper body, and heart rate. You're coming up to the end of it, and relax. Next exercise is going to be the TRX chest press. So you're going to go ahead and lengthen the suspension trainer to full length. You're going to stand facing away from the anchor point, and you're going to set yourself up once again with that plank. Your plank should be setting up everything you start. Before you start moving, that plank has got to be engaged. We talk about having the contraction drive the movement, not the movement drive the contraction. So feel like you've got that rib cage coming down towards that pelvis, shoulders pulled down and back, and 45 seconds begins now. You'll notice our level 1 athlete has that front leg forward so he can unload his body to create that motion we want. Shoulders stay down and back. He's got a nice plank, ears, shoulders, hips, knees. He can unload it as much as he wants and then start to put his mental weight into his hands. Level 2, we have feet back. So now Alexis has to keep that core from riding forward. She's keeping that nice plank moving up and down. Halfway through, it becomes a moving plank. So if you're at the level 3, you're now going to switch legs here, because what Daniel's been doing is a single leg chest press. So he has to keep that moving plank moving up and down, but he also has to resist that rotation in through the hips. Every time at the top, re-engage that core before you go down. Every time at the bottom, re-engage that core before you come up. Think of this less in the beginning as a chest press and more as a moving plank, and we're coming to the end, and relax. Now that we got that moving plank down, we're going to take it to a TRX plank. So we're going to have everybody go to the ground. First thing you're going to do is you're going to adjust the suspension trainer so it's at mid-calf height. You want those foot cradles hitting you about mid-shin or mid-calf. Another way to think about it would be handles right about knee level. And once you get to the ground, you can double check to make sure it's high enough. The bottom of those foot cradles should be just above your feet. To make sure you know how to go toes in or heels in, you can refer to our setup and use. We're going to go 4 sets of 10 seconds hold. We're not going to give you a 60-second or 30-second plank where you fatigue. We want you to be strong each time. So our first 10 seconds begins now. Once again, level 1 is going to be basically in a 6-point plank. Feet, knees, elbows, all controlling themselves. You got about 3 seconds left. Come down and relax. Re-engage, find your breath. Here we go. You're jumping right back up. Level 2, we call it bows and toes. Alexis has a great line going from ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. That core is nice and tight. The glutes are turned on. It's active all the way down. All the way down, relax. Re-engage before you come up. Deep breath in, exhale, engage, and come up. Remember, we want the contraction to drive the movement. So you don't come up and look for the contraction. You contract before you come up. At Daniel's at this level 3, he's nice and strong up on his hands. Everything stays nice and tight, nice and tight. Come down and relax. We got one more rep. You really want to make sure that you're focusing on that nice strong plank. Here we go, deep breath in, exhale, and bring yourself up. A couple of things to call out are shoulders down and back, hips up, tight, 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 all the way around. Imagine someone's coming by to give you a little poke in your core, a little poke in your glute, a little poke in your leg, and come down and relax. Now you got a sense of what that plank feels like, nice and strong. We're gonna have you flip over and we're gonna go into what we call our TRX hip abduction. So we're gonna drop heels in, and people are usually comfortable with that plank on their bows and toes, or comfortable thinking about a plank when they go into their chest press. Now we're coming up to a supine plank. So as soon as you turn on that posterior chain, you still have to think about keeping that core engaged. So we're gonna go 45 seconds, beginning now into our hip abduction. Our beginner is gonna bring himself up, open those legs, bring them back together, down, and relax. He's gonna rest between each rep. Level 2, you're getting that core in a supine position, staying turned on. Those legs come out and then close again. We're really targeting not only the core, but this glute medius and these hip abductors. We're halfway through. For the level 3, we're gonna take it up another notch, and you're gonna see that Daniel is maintaining a great plank here. Ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. He's using those hips to open up those legs as wide as he can, but he's holding it in that out position. He's getting some iso holds out there, really firing it up, coming back together under control. The other thing you'll notice our athletes are doing is they're keeping their toes pulled towards their shins. 45 seconds is done, down, under control. That's our first round, our first 4 exercises. Second round is we're gonna move into the squat. So you're gonna stand up, adjust your TRX suspension trainer so you're at mid-length, and you're gonna stand facing the anchor point. We're gonna take advantage of all that activation we just got in our hips and our core, and we're gonna take it to what seems like a movement that everybody does every day, and it doesn't take much thinking. But now we're gonna take that core activation we got with the plank, we got some activation in those adductors in the hips, and we wanna keep that core nice and tight as you work into the squat. You're gonna start with the elbows stacked right underneath your shoulders. Your mindset should be focusing on that core stability we developed in the plank, some of that activation in the hips, and we're gonna take this squat up to another level because of your movement mastery mindset. 45 seconds begins now. Level 1 is gonna give us our bottom-up squat. He's gonna lower himself down, whatever feels comfortable, then pull himself into that good bottom of the squat position and use his hands to spot him up. Our level 2 is working into that squat, but really focusing on as she goes down, that core is engaged, driving those hips back, controlling this entire movement with that posterior chain. Lowering yourself down, almost feel like she's pulling yourself down to the ground. We're halfway through, so you'll see at our level 3, he's gonna switch legs. Daniel's been doing a single leg squat, still looking for all those coaching points. Torso is nice and stiff, looking for that movement coming from the hip and leg, and 45 seconds is done. Our next exercise is going to be the TRX row. So you're going to go ahead and shorten the suspension trainer all the way. Our level 3 user is actually going to go ahead and over shorten it so those handles come up even a little bit higher off the ground, because Daniel's going to start off in an inverted position. The whole idea for this rowing series is you're going to be cycling from a low row to a mid row to a high row, and your focus is nice strong core and keeping those shoulders as far away from your ears as you can. 45 seconds begins now. You'll see our level 1 is working from an offset foot position. He can now self-spot himself with that back leg and really focus on that core staying nice and strong and really initiating that movement with those shoulders coming down and back and finishing with the biceps. Level 2, you see she's keeping her legs together, so she has a little bit more of a vector to work with, and you see that she's initiating that movement with those shoulders coming down and back. Doesn't matter if she's low, medium, or high, that first movement is those scapula coming down and back and really driven from mid-trap as opposed to high trap. Level 3, you see Daniel started out inverted. Now if he starts to fatigue along the way, he has the ability to take advantage of vector resistance and bring himself up. You see him getting a couple of iso holds, and 45 seconds is done right here. Now all we're going to do is we're going to go from a pulling exercise to more of a pushing exercise. We're going to go to a TRX tricep press. You want to adjust the suspension trainer to mid-length. You want to stand facing away from the anchor point. And instead of a typical tricep press where you're thinking about the tricep doing all the work, once again, we're coming back to this 3D core strength. This becomes a moving plank. 45 seconds begins now. So engage that core. As you get started, you want to feel like you're bringing that shoulder girdle down and back. So everything you just did in the row to squeeze those scapula together, you're still keeping that going here. Shoulders are down and back, body is planked up, and now you're just working into those triceps. Level 1, you have that offset foot stance so you can spot yourself with the front leg. Level 2, that body stays planked out the whole time, shoulders are down and back. Level 3, we've added a little bit of twist on it. He's gone ahead for a reverse grip. So now at level 3, not only do you have to worry about this plank staying in control, but you got to make sure that those hands and those forearms are staying strong all the way through. Think of this as a moving plank that really focuses on those triceps and relax. Last one we're going to in this round is going to be TRX side plank. So once again, we're coming back to reinforce where you're working with that side plank. So you're going into a toes in position, and we're going to start on our right side. You'll see level 1 is not in the TRX, level 2 is going to be in the TRX, and level 3 is going to be the TRX. Now we're going to bring everything together we've done, shoulder stability, shoulder strength, hip extension, and a lot of core strength for 3 sets of 10-second holds on each side, starting with the right. First 10 seconds begins now. You'll see level 1 is on the ground. His feet aren't in the TRX. He's nice and stable, keeping that nice strong plank, shoulders down and back. He's resisting gravity, trying to pull him in, and down and relax. Deep breath in, exhale, engage before you lift, let the contraction drive the movement, and bring yourself up. Level 2, Alexis brings herself up, and now she has that instability of the TRX, really having her to focus on maintaining that core stability. Shoulders stay down and back, staying loaded, down and relax. Deep breath in, exhale, find that contraction first, let the contraction drive the movement, and bring yourself up. Level 3, you're going to see Daniel still holds a good strong plank, but we have some hip drop going here. Make sure those hips come through, keep that chin up off that chest, stay nice and strong, and down and relax. I want you to roll onto your stomach first, and now roll over onto your left side. When you're in the side plank position, that top foot is always in front of the bottom foot. You want to go heel toe. That's going to give you a little bit more core activation. You're on the left side, same levels, same progressions. Here we go, everybody up for the first 10 seconds. When you come up, feel like you need to pull those hips a little bit higher than you think. Everybody tends to be a little bit low on there. Keep that shoulder right on top of that elbow, down and relax. Deep breath in, just enough to let that blood flow get back in there. Exhale, contract, drive up. You can have that arm nice and tall. Feel like your shoulders are pulled down and back. Feel like those hips are fully extended. Feel like that core is working the entire time. Down and relax. Last set on here. Deep breath in, exhale. Contraction first, movement second. Drive yourself up. Daniel's going to make sure those hips are all the way through. A little bit of pause at the top, a little iso hold at the top, then drop those hips down. Shoulders stay down and back, and down and relax. That's our side plank. And that's the 4th exercise in round 2. Now we're going to go to round 3. Go ahead and stand up, take your feet out, adjust the suspension trainer so it's at mid-length. We're going to a bicep curl. And even though we're going to get to train the biceps, we're going to get to train the arms in the back, you still want to think of this as a core exercise. So you're going to keep those shoulder blades pulled down and back. We've got the TRX mid-length. Everybody's set. 45 seconds begins now. Once again, level 1 has that offset foot position. So now he can use that back leg to spot himself up, because what his focus here is to make sure that rib cage stays relatively close to that pelvis, shoulders stay down and back, and now we want to see him at the bottom open up that chest even more. He started to cave in a little bit here, squeeze those shoulder blades down and back. Great. Level 2, Alexis is moving in a perfect plank, up and down. It's not how fast she can do it, it's how much control she can have in her core, and she's going to find a great peak in those biceps at the top. Notice that everybody's elbows stay up off their body. And once again, at level 3, we've got this reverse grip. So we've got a strong plank working here. We've got shoulders down and back. And now we've got those forearms having to control themselves up and down. You got 3, 2, 1, and relax. Next exercise is going to be the TRX hamstring curl. So go ahead and adjust the suspension trainer so the bottom of those foot cradles are hitting you about mid-calf. You can give it another check. Handles might be right about at the knees. But the best way to check it out is before you go in, you're going to notice that Daniel checked to make sure the bottom of those foot cradles are just above his toes. What you don't want to do is have them too low. If anything, you might have them a little bit higher. So you're going to start in this supine plank. Head up, shoulders down and back, belly facing the sky. And now, even though you could do this movement as quickly as you wanted to, it's not a conditioning exercise. Week 1 is all about strength control in the core. So 45 seconds begins now. Level 1, you'll notice hips are down on the ground. That doesn't make this a passive exercise. Mitch is driving heels down in there to light up that posterior chain. That back gets to stay on the ground in a nice contracted core. If you looked at him from the side, he'd be really working through a nice squat pattern. Alexis' hips, which I'm going to have her bring up even a little bit more. There we go. And now her hips stay in the same place in 3-dimensional space, and those knees come over till they're stacked right on top. until she extends all the way out. A little bit of pause in, a little bit of pause out. The focus is on that core staying nice and strong. Hands up here makes a little bit more stability challenge. Same movement here, hit him in, hit him out, down, and relax. From this position, don't stand up. All I want you to do is take your suspension trainer and put it into single handle mode. We're gonna go bottom through top, and you're gonna put your left foot in, toes down. We're gonna be doing the TRX Spider-Man push-up. We're gonna bring together a lot of things we've done in this workout. We're gonna get good core strength and stability, good pushing strength, and now we're really gonna work on active hip mobility. We're gonna do 8 reps, so now we wanna make sure we set those shoulders, pull those shoulders down and back. We're gonna do 8 reps each leg. Everybody up, find that plank. 8 reps begins now. Level 1, you're gonna notice he's gonna touch his toe down when he's up at the top and touch his toe down as he brings that knee up towards that forearm as he goes down. Level 2, she's just getting that toe touched here for a little bit of balance and it floats as she goes forward. Level 3, that leg is floating the entire time. You look at this pattern, it looks a lot like crawling, but it also has to do with climbing, getting into and out of vehicles, as well as carrying asymmetrical loads. That core stays turned on, those shoulders stay down and back like you were doing a row. You're working through that pushing strength. As soon as you get each side, you're switching to the other side. Give yourself as little rest in the transition as you can, but make sure you reset every time. Because we're going for reps on each side, there's nothing wrong with doing a couple of reps. If you need to take a rest to reset and then finish up, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure you experience what right feels like and what right looks like. So come down under control. Make sure you get that nice mobility into this leg coming up. That straight leg. Focus on it staying straight the entire time. Get that core used to being long and strong. If you start to fatigue from level 3, you can touch back down at the top for level 2. If you start to fatigue here, you can touch down each time, or you can take advantage of what Mitch is doing here, is taking a break in between a few reps to make sure that each one of them is nice and clean. We're more concerned with you nailing these clean and strong with how fast you do or how many you can do in a row. All finished up? So that's the end of this week 1, day 1 workout. We start out at the top with some general movements, worked our way down to this final movement where it really maps to what you do in your job, but we set you up to have that right movement mastery mindset. We got that shoulder girdle nice and strong, compacted. We make sure that you knew how to turn on that core to be 3D strong, and we got those hips nice and mobile. That's what this program is about. It's not about trying to trash you or smoke you every single workout. Anybody can do that. At TRX, we're all about building high-intensity work built on strong, focused movements. So the workouts start off with focusing on the movement, building up strength, and ending with a challenge that's going to put all those things together. It does that for every round, for every workout, and for the entire program. It's not something you come in and just go out without thinking. It's something where you have to have the right mindset to come in. So if you need to take a break during a set to make sure you reset and get that strength and movement pattern down right, that's what we want. Because by week 12, you're going to have the core strength, you're going to have the proximal stability, that rock solid core, you're going to have that distal mobility to be able to move with strength and purpose, to be able to do it over and over again, and you will be doing things at the end of the program that you couldn't do at the beginning because we've set you up to take you down that road step by step.